Around the world, governments abandoned these ideas. Too dangerous, too expensive, too insane. But China looked at the same impossible projects: floating highways, gravity-defying tunnels, mountains carved by machines, and said one word: build. Today, we're exploring the 10 megastructures no other nation dared to attempt. Join us, and let's begin. Number 9. Tianmen Cave, the Heaven's Gate that pilots fly through. We've arrived at a structure so surreal it looks photoshopped into reality. Tianmen Cave, also known as Heaven's Gate, is a giant natural arch standing 131 meters tall, carved into Tianmen Mountain in Zhangjiajie. What makes this place absolutely mind-blowing? The Stairway to Heaven, consisting of 999 steps built by engineers to lead visitors up to the cave. The number 999 is considered extremely lucky in Chinese culture, symbolizing eternal life. In 1999, Tianmen Cave became world famous when a group of pilots flew fighter jets through the arch, proving the massive size and absurd majesty of this natural wonder. The footage went viral globally. Since then, it became a massive tourist attraction, drawing millions of visitors annually. Tourists either climb the steps, which takes about an hour of steady hiking, or take a cable car over one of the most cinematic landscapes in China. The cable car itself holds records as one of the longest cable car rides in the world, covering over 7 kilometers and climbing nearly 1,300 meters in elevation. From the cable car, you watch the landscape transform from urban areas to dense forests to bare mountain peaks. The combination of natural wonder and human ingenuity creates an experience that sticks in your memory forever. At the top, the cave opening frames the sky like a massive stone picture frame. Clouds often drift through the opening, creating mystical photo opportunities. Local legends claim the cave is a gateway between Earth and Heaven, which explains the name. Standing beneath that arch of stone, with hundreds of meters of mountain above you and valleys far below, you feel insignificant in the best possible way. Simply unbelievable. And to close this list, a building that appears to float while attracting fortune. Number 8. Wangjing SOHO, the 3 waves frozen in Beijing's skyline. Wangjing SOH breaks every rule about what buildings should look like. 3 towers, none of them straight, all of them curved like ocean waves frozen mid-crash. Designed by Zaha Hadid, the queen of impossible architecture, these structures look like they're actively melting but somehow remain perfectly stable. The towers reach heights of 200 meters, 127 meters, and 118 meters, creating a cascading effect when viewed from certain angles. The curved facades aren't just aesthetic choices, they're structural decisions. The flowing design distributes wind loads differently than rectangular buildings, actually making the towers more stable in storms. White aluminum panels cover the exterior, reflecting sunlight and creating a surface that changes appearance throughout the day. Morning light makes them glow. Afternoon sun creates deep shadows in the curves. Night lighting turns them into illuminated sculptures. Inside, the floor plans follow the curves, creating office spaces that don't have a single 90-degree corner. This drove interior designers crazy at first because standard furniture doesn't fit properly. Companies had to custom design workspaces to match the flowing walls. The result is office environments that feel organic rather than corporate, like working inside a living organism instead of a box. The 3 towers connect through a shared podium at ground level, containing retail spaces and restaurants. Elevated walkways link the towers at multiple levels, creating a 3-dimensional circulation system. You can move between buildings without ever touching the ground. The complex covers 521,000 square meters and houses thousands of workers daily. Critics initially called the design impractical and accused it of prioritizing appearance over function. Then it won multiple international architecture awards and became one of Beijing's most recognizable landmarks. Tourists visit just to photograph the buildings from different angles, discovering new curves and perspectives with each viewpoint. The towers proved that commercial architecture doesn't need to be boring rectangles. But curved buildings are one thing. What about a city built entirely on water? I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item. Number 7. Songjiang Quarry Hotel, the upside-down skyscraper carved into stone. Take a deep breath. The Songjiang Quarry Hotel, also known as Intercontinental Shanghai Wonderland, is the world's first 5-star hotel built inside an abandoned quarry. 18 floors total, with 16 of them below ground level and 2 completely submerged underwater. $500 million invested to transform an abandoned pit into 336 luxury suites, all with views of the subterranean lake. The 2 underwater floors house a restaurant and themed aquarium rooms. You wake up and watch fish swimming outside your window. Sunlight filters down through the water, creating shifting patterns on the walls. It's surreal and peaceful at the same time. An 88-meter artificial waterfall plunges down the cliff face, creating constant background noise that echoes through the quarry. Extreme activities include rock climbing on the quarry walls and bungee jumping from the highest accessible floor down toward the water below. The hotel transformed what was essentially a massive scar in the earth into an architectural wonder that shocked the international community. Architects had to solve unique problems like water seepage, ventilation in underground spaces, and how to create natural light in rooms that sit dozens of meters below the surface. The design incorporates the natural rock formations into the building structure, rather than fighting against them. Glass walls allow guests to see the raw stone face of the quarry from their rooms. This creates a connection between human construction and natural geology that most buildings never achieve. The hotel proves that architectural innovation doesn't always mean building taller. Sometimes it means going deeper. And if I told you there's a natural portal that looks like it belongs in another dimension? Number 6. The floating city of Wuzhen, ancient Venice rebuilt with Chinese characteristics. Wuzhen isn't new, it's over 1,300 years old, but recent restoration and expansion turned this water town into something that feels impossible. The entire city sits on water, with 72 stone bridges connecting neighborhoods built on islands and stilts. Ancient buildings line canals where boats serve as the primary transportation method. Walking through Wuzhen feels like stepping into a living museum where history never left. The town covers 6 square kilometers of interconnected waterways, preserved architecture, and traditional lifestyle. Stone pathways barely above water level wind between buildings that stood for centuries. Wooden houses with curved tile roofs lean over the canals, their foundations driven deep into the mud below the water. During heavy rains, water levels rise and streets become temporary canals where boats navigate between doorways. China invested massive resources into preserving and restoring Wuzhen while also modernizing infrastructure hidden beneath the ancient appearance. Underground drainage systems prevent flooding. Modern plumbing runs through buildings that look unchanged from the outside. High-speed internet reaches every structure, despite the historical facade. Its ancient aesthetics powered by 21st century technology. The town hosts the World Internet Conference annually, creating a bizarre juxtaposition of tech billionaires discussing AI and blockchain while traveling between meetings on wooden boats through 700-year-old canals. Conference centers disguised as traditional architecture house cutting-edge presentation technology. The contrast makes you question whether you're in the past or future. Wuzhen proves that preservation doesn't mean freezing something in time and ignoring modern needs. You can maintain historical character while incorporating contemporary conveniences. Thousands of people actually live here, not as museum exhibits, but as residents with normal lives who happen to commute by boat. Restaurants serve traditional dishes in buildings that witnessed the Ming Dynasty. Shops sell modern goods from storefronts that stood before America existed. Ancient water cities are fascinating, but what about towers that generate their own weather? Number 5. Shanghai World Financial Center, the bottle opener that pierces clouds. The Shanghai World Financial Center stands 492 meters tall with 101 floors, and everyone calls it the bottle opener because of the massive rectangular hole at the top. That 50-meter aperture isn't decorative, it's functional genius. Without that hole, wind forces at that height would create so much pressure that the building would sway dangerously. The opening lets wind pass through instead of pushing against a solid wall, reducing lateral forces by 35%. The observation deck sits at 474 meters inside that rectangular opening, offering views through the hole itself. You can look straight through the building to the sky on the other side, creating a visual effect that breaks your brain. Standing there, you're essentially inside a window floating nearly half a kilometer above Shanghai. The glass floor sections let you see straight down to the streets below, cars looking like ants moving in organized chaos. 3 observation decks at different heights give visitors options based on their tolerance for vertigo. The 97th floor, at 439 meters, appeals to normal humans. The 100th floor, at 474 meters, attracts thrill-seekers and photographers. The glass-floored walkways on the 94th floor separate the brave from the terrified. Watching people's reactions when they step onto transparent floors never gets old.
Number 4. Qinghai-Tibet Railway, the Iron Dragon flying through frozen hell. The Qinghai-Tibet Railway is the world's highest railway, connecting Qinghai to Tibet with 965 kilometers built on permanently frozen ground. Multiple sections exceed 5,000 meters of altitude. The highest point, Tungula Pass, sits at 5,072 meters. That's higher than any mountain in Europe. You're basically riding a train through the stratosphere. The total length spans 1,956 kilometers. The cost hit $4.2 billion. 5 years of brutal construction work under conditions that would kill most people. And how exactly do humans survive at this altitude? The train cars come equipped with oxygen systems identical to those on airplanes. Windows feature UV protection against the intense solar radiation of the Tibetan Plateau. Without these systems, passengers would pass out from oxygen deprivation within minutes. The route crosses 675 bridges and includes the Fenghoshan Tunnel stretching 1.3 kilometers, carved directly under the permafrost. Building on frozen ground presents unique challenges because the ground moves and shifts with temperature changes. Engineers had to develop entirely new construction techniques to prevent the tracks from warping and becoming unusable. During the journey, passengers witness endless Tibetan prairies and snow-covered mountains that touch the sky. Wild yaks roam freely across the landscape. Buddhist monasteries dot the hillsides. This isn't just transportation, it's defying nature itself, then making the impossible routine. The thin air, extreme cold, and brutal terrain that kept Tibet isolated for millennia got conquered by steel rails and human determination. Extreme altitude is impressive, but how about twisting an entire skyscraper?
Number 3. Guangdong Coin Building, the circular giant that bends feng shui. Closing our list, here's a prosperity symbol located on the banks of the Pearl River. This building resembles a giant coin with a diameter of 138 meters, designed by architect Joseph Di Pasquale, following feng shui principles to symbolize prosperity and wealth. In the center sits a circular void spanning 48 meters that reduces wind resistance and improves airflow around the structure. Here's the genius detail that makes this building special. When it reflects on the water surface, the building forms the infinity symbol, the number 8 lying on its side. In Chinese culture, 8 is considered the most auspicious number of all. Every centimeter was calculated to attract success and good fortune to the businesses housed inside. The building functions as a mixed-use complex with offices, retail spaces, and entertainment venues. Companies compete for office space inside because of the building's reputation for bringing business success. Whether this actually works or it's just psychological doesn't matter. People believe in it, and that belief drives real economic activity. The circular design creates unique interior spaces that don't follow traditional rectangular floor plans. This forced architects and interior designers to think creatively about how to utilize the curved spaces efficiently. The result is office layouts and retail areas that feel different from typical commercial buildings. At night, lighting illuminates the circular void, making the building glow like an actual giant coin floating above the river. The reflection doubling effect becomes even more pronounced, creating a stunning visual that photographs beautifully. This building represents how Chinese architecture blends traditional cultural concepts with cutting-edge modern design. Number 2. Harbin Opera House, the curved wonder that mimics frozen waves. Harbin Opera House looks like something that crash-landed from another dimension and decided to stay. Designed by mad architects, this building in northeastern China features curves so extreme that not a single wall stands vertical. The entire structure flows like frozen waves of snow, appropriate for a city known as Ice City due to brutal winters where temperatures drop to -40 degrees. The exterior is clad in white aluminum panels that shift appearance based on lighting conditions. During the day, it reflects the sky and surrounding landscape, almost disappearing into the environment. At night, interior lighting makes the curves glow, transforming the building into an illuminated sculpture visible for kilometers. The massive glass wall on the north side offers views of nearby wetlands and the Songhua River. Inside, the main auditorium seats 1,600 people under a ceiling that continues the flowing curves of the exterior. Acoustic panels follow the organic shapes, creating sound quality that rivals the world's best opera houses. The smaller hall seats 400 and serves as an experimental performance space for contemporary work and smaller productions. Both spaces use natural materials and subtle lighting to maintain the connection to the exterior aesthetic. The building site presented unique challenges because Harbin's location means permafrost and extreme temperature swings. Foundations had to go deep to reach stable ground below the frost line. The curved aluminum panels needed expansion joints to handle thermal contraction and expansion without cracking or warping. Standard construction techniques don't work for shapes this extreme, forcing engineers to develop custom solutions for almost every aspect. The Opera House opened in 2015 and immediately became Harbin's signature landmark. Tourists visit even when there are no performances, walking the grounds and photographing the building from every angle. The surrounding wetland park was designed simultaneously with the Opera House, creating an integrated landscape where architecture and nature flow together. Pathways wind through the park, offering constantly changing perspectives of the building's curves. Number 1. Beilong Elevator, the glass shaft that rockets up a cliff face. Beilong Elevator is the world's tallest outdoor elevator, climbing 326 meters up the side of a sandstone cliff in Zhangjiajie. 3 double-decker glass cars run in parallel shafts, each one exposed to the elements and offering unbrushed views of the canyon. The elevator was carved partially into the rock face and partially built as a freestanding structure attached to the cliff. The ride takes 88 seconds to travel from bottom to top, accelerating at speeds that make your stomach drop. Through the glass walls, you watch the ground fall away, as forest canopy gives way to cliff faces, which then give way to sky. Other mountains appear at eye level as you rise. Birds fly below you. The perspective shift happens so fast your brain struggles to keep up. This elevator moves 18,000 tourists daily during peak season. 3 cars operating simultaneously, each holding 50 people, cycling continuously up and down. The queue can stretch for hours during holidays when everyone wants to experience the ride. Despite the crowds, the engineering remains flawless. The system has operated since 2002 with minimal issues, proving that proper maintenance and design can handle extreme usage. The controversy surrounding Beilong centers on environmental impact. Critics argued that bolting a massive glass elevator to a pristine cliff face ruins natural beauty. Supporters counter that it concentrates tourist impact in one location, instead of having thousands of people hiking fragile trails. The debate continues, but the elevator keeps running and tourists keep riding.
At the top, you exit onto viewing platforms that showcase the Avatar Mountains, the karst formations that inspired the floating Hallelujah Mountains in James Cameron's film. The landscape looks alien, impossible, like something from a fantasy world. Pillars of rock rise hundreds of meters from the forest floor, their peaks lost in mist. Bailong Elevator doesn't just provide access, it transforms how you experience this environment. Vertical travel is wild, but what about horizontal travel at impossible speeds?
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.